Next up, we have Ananmaria Bodi with her pitch for her project called the Irish Dairy Blockchain. Over to you, Annamarie.
Hello, nice meeting everybody. So in my presentation, I tried to look for solutions, how we could apply blockchain, for instance, for the Irish dairy industry. And it is something that I was inspired because when I was doing my research, I saw that Australia and New Zealand has been very forefront runners in terms of applying blockchain technologies in the dairy sectors. And they're basically using it as a competitive tool to enhance the value of certain products in their dairy supply chain, which is important for their export markets. So I thought it's an interesting framework, and I was just trying to look at ways how we could implement such a solution in Ireland if we are looking through the whole supply chain in the Irish dairy sector. So basically, I tried to look at how it would look at it if you look at it from an economic point of view, how we can get all the participants involved in such a project with gamification and other incentivization. And I think it would be also interesting to link in a certain financial aspects into the project, like with the new ideas like DeFi, staking, and other things like that. So basically, besides the idea of tracking an asset to prove food authenticity, can we create a system which has an economics part and which has a finance part as well, that would work through the whole supply chain, get the stakeholders involved, and try to get the participants to behave in a certain matter, like in our case, a more sustainable matter in all the stages of the production in the supply chain. And I was thinking that DLT and blockchain as a technology could definitely be useful to do that. And I was using a private and a public blockchain models and NFTs in the solution. And I was concentrating on Ethereum as the most well-known public blockchain. And I was choosing Quorum as a private blockchain. And I think the combination of these two would be a useful tool to track certain products on the supply chain. But as I said, I was trying to concentrate on other questions relation to the topic, just as Fiona was referring to sustainability, and also as one sort of benefit for the farmers, for instance, how can we link in real-time payments, for instance, in the system using DeFi and other elements there. That's kind of the short summary.
Thanks a million for that, Annamarie. And I suppose my first question is, this solution which you've just pitched, what was the inspiration behind it?
Oh, I was living in Asia for a while, and it was a well-known scandal there, the milk, the baby supply milk formula that happened there, I think in 2008. And in Hong Kong, people were still queuing up to make sure they get certain baby milk formulas. So the authenticity is definitely a factor there. But I was also saying that that it's a factor where the product comes from. And Irish products generally have a good history and a well-known reputation on the market. But for instance, if Ireland would like to compete with other countries exporting to Asian markets, and Australia and New Zealand have these kind of food tracking systems and blockchain-enabled systems, then I think there's a room for Ireland to kind of play a bit of catch up, if it's could be something that could be also beneficial for the participants in the supply chain. That's another great benefit.
Thanks a million, Annamarie. And I suppose my other question is, has this project enhanced your knowledge of distributed technology and blockchain technology?
I definitely did, and it was very interesting to dig into the details, because I think if there's no such project, you wouldn't go into that level of details to focus on, because you just wouldn't really think about it. So I take this opportunity to thank you and Fiona for presenting us with the problem, because it was interesting to work on it.
Thanks a million, Annamarie, for that feedback. And I'm going to pass it over now to our first panelist, who, if they have a question they would like to ask you.
Can I come in there? Sorry. Go ahead, Kosala, you go first.
All right, so because I have done some work in this area, so Annamarie, have you discussed with farmers regarding milk recording, milk collection, and to see the real problem they have?
I think it's really comes down to certain areas. Like if you're talking about the co-op, then it might be more transparent and easier, because the farmers have a very direct link with the dairy producers, right? But it's not always there. I think to put such a project or this project into reality, I think you really have to go back to the farmers and track more the problems. I was just trying to focus on the big picture idea and trying to focus what are the usually the problems for the farmers, how we get them involved in the project, first of all. And the other thing, what incentives could be important for them that they could benefit from a project, like easier access to financing or different sort of access to financing other than the traditional ones like banks and things like that.
Well, this is a great starting point, Annamarie. It's a great start. And but if you can go a little bit detailed, because I'm sure you cannot solve all these problems. This is a big problem.
Yeah, it's a big picture framework. Yeah.
If you can go a little bit detailed, because in Ireland they have milk recording, milk collection. There's two different things. When they do milk recording, they do kind of scientific checking of quality and stuff. And then they do milk recording, and these milks are transferred from different centers to different locations, things like that. But probably, if you can make your focus for organic milk, that could be, maybe very focused. Then, because when you drink organic, you like to see how these cows were growing, what kind of grass they ate, things like that. Maybe you can probably easily focus your project if you can be a little bit specific to organic milk, maybe.
I appreciate the comment, and I think you're right. Just as I think we talked about it earlier, I think it's much easier to actually put this project into practice if you're thinking of premium products like organic milk or other premium products in the dairy sector or other sectors, because those premium products are much able to carry on all the costs of the blockchain and all the other additional costs which are needed potentially on the farming level to ensure these tracking, because there's different solutions out there. They exist from a technological point of view, but what we choose, what is the cost element at each level, I think is very important how we put the whole framework together.
Yeah, I actually developed a prototype for this, and if you need any hand in the future, so I'm happy.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Kosala, and Amaya, if you have a question.
I think it's been answered already. It was in relation to what Kosala was talking. I was just wondering if Annamarie had a chance to think about incentives for farmers, but I think it's been somehow answered there. But if you want to comment a little bit more on that, that'll be great.
So basically, I was just browsing through website, but also actually farming magazines. What are the topics which are coming up there? What are the problems that farmers facing? One thing is obviously connectivity, but the other thing, most of the times they have problem accessing insurance or microfinancing, for instance. And I was thinking if we could use the system and give them access to more decentralized elements of financing, like be able to use maybe their receivables, which are generated in the process. And those could be tokenized. And then investors could invest money into these tokens, potentially through some stable coins. Basically, we can create a system which can give them access to short-term financing, which we wouldn't have access to anymore, because the main elements from a finance perspective are on the blockchain. And obviously those are not shared, those are kept private, but it would be an additional point and part of the system, which would help them to overcome some of the difficulties they are facing. Because I think at the moment, certain things to do with blockchain, traditional financial players like banks are very just still afraid of, and they're just not too sure how to handle it. They haven't developed their policies, but at the same time, this could be some sort of solutions for the farmers, or actually other players as well in the supply chain, that they could access.
Thanks a million, Maya, and thanks a million, Annamarie.